Thanks for tuning in to OPM Live, which is an extension of Ordinary People magazine. How are you all today? I am so glad that you guys decided to join us. It's been a long 2 weeks for me and for my family. Recently, my older brother passed unexpectedly. And so these past 2 weeks has been surreal. It's like been bearable, but almost unbearable because we know that God makes no mistakes. We loved him, but God loved him best. And he was an awesome big brother. His name was David L. Bowen. He was a guitar player, and he was just the greatest of brothers that any sibling could ask for. He was the second child of eight. I'm the third child. And of course, we are going to miss him dearly, but he had completed his task. That's how we look at it. He had completed his task, and so God called him home. But we're getting through it. We're making strive. At least I am trying really hard, but I don't live far from him at this particular time or where he did live. But yeah, we're going to make the best of it. And we want to thank everyone for all of their calls, all of their emails, and just checking on us because our parents is deceased as well. So now it's seven, was eight. Something my mother was so proud to say. She had eight children, four boys and four girls. It's just strange to say now it's seven, three boys and four girls. But we want to thank everyone for everything that they've done for us, and we appreciate it. And so today we have an awesome guest. She's one of the board members for an organization that is called A Loving Act. But before we get to that part, we want to thank all of our sponsors, Bimashi Enterprise, Southern Eagle Music Group, It's a Raised Vision, and Gemstones and Trinkets. So we're going to bring her in. Uh, Give me a moment. I want to bring her in so we can learn more about the organization and how you can connect with them and how you can even donate. So let's bring in Miss Phylisha A. Pipkins. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. As I said earlier, this particular spot is new for me, but we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
Condolences to you and your family, of course.
Thank you. It was so unexpectedly, but we're trying to make it. We're trying to make it because, like I said earlier, he was just the best big brother that
Uh,
any sibling could ask for. Such a sad. I mean, he was not a you know rumbustious kind of person. He was just so gentle, a gentle giant. Was. That's how I can best describe it. So we want to know more about a loving act. And if you can begin with sharing a little bit about yourself and then the organization and what it is that you all do for your community.
sure. So, my name is Felicia Pipkins. I'm actually in Houston, Texas, but the organization is housed in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a community activist here in the Houston area. I actually live in Fresno, which is in the suburbs of Houston. I am a precinct chair here in my community, so I'm really close knit with my community. I'm always doing something, and I enjoy the community aspect of life and giving back to my community. A Loving Act is in Atlanta, Georgia. We are a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit organization. And the organization was founded by Atia Ali. And it was founded actually off of, just a loving act, really, is how it's founded. Atia just decided to visit a prison ministry back in 2012, and visiting that ministry touched her heart, and it put some power in her for an idea that she wanted. So she started a loving act. There's a couple of different aspects of the ministry, and I call it a ministry because whenever you have a heart for people and you put that heart into action and you actually do things to help better the lives of other people, that's a ministry. So
Mhm.
Atia started the ministry in 2012. She started it with her prison ministry, and it's still going faithful today, still going strong today. She visits her and some of the colleagues there in Atlanta. They visit the prison, the women's prisons in Atlanta, and they build relationships with inmates. And they build relationships, helping. They do things trying to help better help better empower the women that are incarcerated there in the Atlanta area. So they help to build self-esteem. Um, they help, with relationships with their children. If they have children that are on in the outside world, they help those that are actually leaving prison and coming back into the real world. They help them with life skills and finding jobs and finding a place to stay. And a lot of the people that she's mentored leaving prison have started businesses. And
That's
so,
incredible.
yes, and Atia has played a pivotal part in that. She's helped to walk people through, what do you need to do in order to start a business, getting a tax ID, and getting incorporation, make sure you're licensed and bonded, and things like that. So again, it's definitely a ministry, and it's something that she does from her heart.
And how did she come about, or you all came about the name A Loving Act?
So again, it literally started from Atia's visit to the prison back in 2012. She literally visited a prison, from an invite, and she just felt a need to do something loving for those women that she visited. And that's how Loving Acts, like, that was the birth of a loving act. It's literally a visit to a prison ministry.
And that's what, of course, OPM Live is an extension of Ordinary People magazine. And Ordinary People magazine came about basically wanting to, I don't want to use the word showcase, but showing that there are just ordinary people doing great things in their community. That's how it came about. I mean, because you see celebrities and everyone who are doing great things, but sometimes I often wonder, is it for publicity or is it definitely from the heart?
Yes.
So I posed that question about, so what about the ordinary person who are actually doing great things and not asking for anything in return? And that's really such a long story, but that's really how Ordinary People came about and OPM Live. So it's good to give back and not asking for anything in return.
And it is good, and it's good to hear. I'm glad you're doing this because it's good to hear um, this from the African American community, because all over the media and just about everywhere you go, they try to make it seem like African Americans don't have huge hearts, and we don't think about nobody but ourselves. But to see ordinary people doing extraordinary things, especially African Americans, especially Black people. Like it does the heart well to see us, being pillars of our community.
But and it actually we are, but it's like from what I know, growing up as a young person, living in North Memphis, which is, you have people, your neighbor who would check on you.
Mm,
They just check on you, not not asking for anything in return. Your neighbor who lives next door to you and your yard may kind of grow together, but there's a line there. But because you're an elderly person, your neighbor just cut your yard.
yeah,
It's like that's what you should do anyway. It really does take a village, no matter where you are and no matter your ethnicity. It really does take a village, and it's okay to be kind and not really ask for anything in return. So we really love showing that ordinary people in their community love their community and they love doing great things in their community.
yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Atia and I actually met by chance. Her and I met on a cruise. My husband is a San Francisco 49ers fan, and Atia is also a San Francisco 49ers fan. And so back in 2018, the fan base put together a cruise, and it was about 100 of us, all met from all walks of life, all across the United States. We all met on this cruise, and we went on a cruise, and that's how I met Atia. But I was touched by her story again and by her ministry. And I was touched so much so that, I said, I know I'm in a different state. I know I'm in a completely different locality, but I want to do as much as I possibly can to help further your ministry and to help, reach as many people as we possibly can in your community. And I love what Atia's doing, because even though she's centered and focused in Atlanta, she works across the United States. We have, before COVID happened, the 49ers group, our fan base travels all around the country. We've been to New Orleans, and they've come here to Houston, and we've been to Vegas, and we go to California. So depending on where games are, we travel throughout the United States. And whenever we're traveling as a fan base, Atia reaches out to another fan base in the community where we're traveling to, and she sets up either gifts to the homeless or food drives. So while we're there for, our having our fun with the 49ers, she's also helping people in that community. So that tells you she has a heart for this. This is
Yeah.
embedded in her soul.
Now that is a loving act past, but we have to keep in mind that our community don't just stop where we are.
That's right.
Community stretches. So we always think of our neighbor as being like right next door, but your neighbor can be somewhere else. It stretches because we are people of the world, and we are to love everyone in the world.
That's
This great world that God gave to us, or He allowed us to use while we're here. We are to love everyone because
that's
the
right.
Bible tells us, how could you say you love me and you can't love the person who you see every day?
That's right.
You never even see. I mean, this is what's in the world. So we are to just share globally.
Yeah, yeah. And that's Atia's mission. That's her goal. And she's expanded. I'm telling you, she has so much going for herself. She really does with this ministry, but she's even expanded the ministry. So it started with, prison outreach and helping, to reform the women's lives in prison ministry. But she also found out that in the Atlanta area, when children are introduced into the foster system, um, typically what happens is the representatives go out and pick these children up either from their families or from foster home to foster home, and they bag their things up in trash bags.
Wow.
So they go pick these children up, and basically you're telling these children that they're just a piece of trash, and that touched Atia. And so now Atia works with the foster system in Atlanta, and the program that she has with the foster system is called Duffels Not Trash. And so some of the proceeds from the money that is raised through a loving act, she uses those proceeds to buy actual bags for these foster children so that when they're picked up and they have to go into the system, or even if they're being released from the system, their belongings aren't put in trash bags. They're put in duffel bags, and that has to mean something to those children. It has to. For someone to think, oh, you mean much more than a trash bag. So let me, little old me, do something to help show you that you mean more than a trash bag.
And the duffel bag become very personal if you think, because the trash bag is actually going to go into the trash. So now they have something that is actually theirs. It would be great if they could be, what is it called, monogram with
Oh
their
yeah,
names on it. It
personalized. Yes,
yeah, it actually becomes theirs. So I'm sure it does mean a lot to the children.
it does. I'm sure it does. That's a very private, sector of government, and with privacy acts and probably HIPAA, you can't really follow and trend to see what reactions are and how they feel. But I mean, just speaking from your own perspective, your own personal perspective, it has to feel good to know that someone thinks enough of you to give you a bag and not something more personal and not a trash bag to carry your belongings in.
Hmm. It's got to.
Yeah.
So, other than what are some of the other initiative that Love and Act perform or do within the community?
Those two are her main. She does have also a homeless outreach. And with her homeless outreach, again, that's one of the ones that she kind of travels whenever we're traveling as a fan base. But with the homeless outreach, she does raise money to buy socks and toiletries and personal hygiene and things like that. She does it, of course, in Atlanta, but whenever we go into other fan bases in other cities, we're also doing the same thing within other cities. Are you there, Miss Verna? So it looks like Miss Verna may be having some difficulties with her connection. So I want to introduce you, or at least give you
Let's
some names.
add. Okay, there you are. I'm not sure what happened. It just went away.
Well, you went away, but the clock and everything kept going, so I just kept talking.
Oh, okay, because I didn't hear you. I didn't hear anything you say. So we're gonna just leave it like that and make sure that okay. So we just leave it like that. Uh, we're not gonna end it.
Yeah, I just kept talking. I didn't stop talking.
Okay, okay, great. That was weird. Okay, so I had an opportunity to meet her.
Okay.
Actually, she was one of our actually. A Love and Act was one of our recipients for our servant award on last year. So she can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah. We honored a loving act with the Servant Award on last year, or was it the year before? I think it was the year before.
Okay.
For all of their community service that they do perform within the community. So yeah, I had an opportunity to meet her. Very very nice person, wonderful smile.
Yes, yes. And she's also on. She's she's a board member on the task force there in Atlanta. I don't know if she told you about that as well. Mayor Keisha Bottoms, we're seeing a whole lot of her in the media here lately. But Atia is part of a task force there that's part of Mayor Bottoms' community, and it's a community-based task force again, trying to target homelessness and some of the other things that are happening there in the Atlanta area. So she has a broad range of things that she's doing right now, and they all look good for the community.
That's really great. That's really great. So now, if you could share with our audience how they can connect, how they can donate, uh, just how they can become even involved with 11 Act, even though it's in Atlanta, but we know that she stretches much farther than Atlanta.
Yes, she does. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you that, but before I do, I want to at least can I make mention to the board members?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So her board members currently, Dr. Frank Newman, he's the chairman, and he's actually out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Reginald Thiessen is the executive director. He's there in Atlanta. And of course, Atia is she's the VP of strategic planning, and she's of course in Atlanta. Terry Jackson is the VP of operations. She's in Atlanta. James Miles is the VP of community involvement. He's in Atlanta as well. Benjamin Carter is the VP of public relations. He's in Atlanta. Katie Spann is the treasurer and accounting, and she's in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Wow.
And Bonita Baldwin Brown, she's the keeper of the records, and she's in Brookhaven, Georgia. A Loving Act is, of course, we're on the web. Our web address is alovingact.org, and that is ALOVINGACT.org. Um, our email address is info@alovingact.org. So that's info, the ad sign, alovingact.org. And then if you want to get in touch with us by phone, our phone number is 240-3 loving. Again, that phone number is 240-3 loving. Um, we have links within the website. So if you go on the website, there are links where you can donate. And then there's also a sponsorship application. So if we have anyone out there that wants to become a sponsor of a Loving Act and help us with helping our community, please go onto the website. And there's a sponsorship application there. And then also there are links to donate. And you can donate either through Square or you can donate through PayPal.
That's great. That's great. So, do you have any parting words that you would like to share? Anything that you would like to share with our listening audience? And you can do that at this time.
Yes, I would just say, please keep a loving act in your prayers. Um, we have a mission that is definitely a community-based mission, and we want to help as many and reach out to as many as we possibly can. So please pray for us, and if you feel it in your heart, please donate to us. Please help us help others, and help if you can't help us, help somebody in your community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Phylisha, it was such a pleasure having you on our show today and learning more about a Loving Act and how we can all get involved. And thank you so very much for all of your community service.
Thank you.
And you have an awesome weekend.
You do the same.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
We're so happy to have her on our show and learning more about a Loving Act and yeah, just having a great time. So We thank you so much for tuning in to OPM Live, which is an extension of Ordinary People magazine. And as we always say, love, peace, and increase. And our scriptures today is one of my favorites. It's now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I love that. It says now faith, having faith now. If you don't see it, you're having faith that it will take place. So now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Have a great weekend, and until next time,